Hiya, freaks and ghouls, slashers and psychopaths, scaredy cats and scaredy dogs. I'm your horror host with the most, the Headless Glenn, and welcome to Graveyard Grumblings, where I talk about whatever I want. As you can probably tell by my lackluster vocal performance, I am not feeling the greatest right now. And this video is going to be a bit different from my other videos. Probably closer to my Scream retrospective for the film, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more rambly, a bit more thoughtful, because I'm not scripting this. I'm merely thinking about a post I've seen recently, and a bunch of comparisons that I've seen recently with the new Batman film that came out. Now, for my thoughts on that, it's a good film. I think it's actually rather good. I do not think it's the perfect Batman movie, which, when I go through this, you might see why, but I feel like one film cannot encapsulate all that Batman is, especially with his very varied history. But yeah, the film was good. It's not perfect. It's not the end-all be-all Batman movie. But the posts specifically I've seen are posts about, hey, which is your Batman? And they'll show a bunch of the live-action Batman. Or they'll be like, which Batman's best? And there seems to be a recurring theme that I see when I see these. And it is the fact that they do not include Adam West's Batman. But ever since I was a kid, I called him Adam West Batman, because that's what I associated him with. And people have said, oh, well, they're only including the movie Batman, but Adam West has a movie. I don't know why a lot of people just assume he doesn't, because he literally has a film. I've watched it multiple times, where he fights Catwoman, Penguin, Joker, and Riddler. And then he also has animated movies, but I know they wouldn't include that for this. But I was reading the comments under posts like that, and whenever people would bring up Adam West, they'd be like, well, I mean, he made the character popular, yeah, but he's not, he's more satire than anything. And I don't think they understand why Adam West is an incredible part of the Batman franchise, just in general. You see, he is the Silver Age Batman. Now, to my knowledge, there are at least three different types of comic book Batman. There is Golden Age, Silver Age, and then Modern Age. Now, Golden Age is the original Batman. He had a gun, he killed people, and then, it kind of evolved from that, and it became a bit more dark, but not extremely so. It was back in the day when they had more, Dick Tracy and all the more detective thriller type things. I mean, he was a part of Detective Comics, so it was more like Gumshoe, and all this stuff about, it's just normal people doing things like that, rather than him being a superhero. And then there was the Silver Age, which is after the Comics Code Authority kicked in, and things had to be lighter. And I know the creator of the Batman show did not like how dark Batman was, so he made it more campy. But does that make it a bad show? Does that make the movie with Adam West in it a bad movie? No, it doesn't. Because it is an adaptation of that Batman. Because that's what he became. Because when the comics changed to fit the show, it became, he is the 60s Batman. He is the Silver Age Batman. And I think people say Adam West isn't Batman because they don't like the Silver Age. They don't like when he was, laughing and playing around, wearing funny outfits, or having wacky space villains. Because they're like, my Batman is an edgy, emo bastard. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love dark Batman stories. Like, my favorite Batman stories of all time are, dark. Because I love Nightfall. I love a lot of the Black Label Batman stories. Because I like the Joker graphic novel and Batman Damned. I like Batman The Imposter. But the thing is, I feel like people just discount Adam West's portrayal just because he's old chum and all that, which I feel is very disheartening. It's very similar to why a lot of people, at least to my knowledge, do not like the Batman the Brave and the Bold, because that is also an adaptation of the Golden Age. I mean, not Golden Age, the adaptation of the Silver Age of comics. So, a lot of people do not like that silly nature. But that's kind of the point. Because if you were to say one interpretation of Batman is Batman, but not to include that piece of the history, that's not Batman. Because Batman is a huge thing, He's more than just simply a stoic, He's more than just a stoic guy just standing on a rooftop. Because there's Golden Age, Silver Age, Modern Age, and all of that is Batman. You can't say it isn't. Because Modern Age Batman is still Batman. Silver Age Batman is still Batman. And Golden Age is still Batman. Now, I've been thinking over the question of who my favorite live-action Batman is. And originally, even after I watched the Batman movie, which I know a lot of people like that portrayal, I was going to say Bale. Because Christian Bale's Batman is from a film franchise that I hold very dear to my heart. Because I feel like in my own life, it has inspired a lot of different, personal things for me. Because just the way that he is portrayed and the way he, it's just a very creative film for me. It inspired me creatively. Whereas this new movie, while I do like it, is a bit, I don't know, it feels like almost, not necessarily a retread, but it feels very similar to the Gotham series, TV show, or the Arkham series games, at least in terms of aesthetic and even kind of the vibe I get from it. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized Adam is definitely my Batman. I know this is very stupid because I never met the man, but when I heard that Adam West died, honestly, it hit me because he was one of the people who got me into acting, honestly. The other person being Tobin Bell, Jigsaw. But I know, just because he's inspired me does not make him the best Batman. But the way he inspires people in his own show, I feel, really do make him Batman. He is one of the best people in that fictional setting. Like, he goes out of his way to try to help people. He wants to rehabilitate his villains. He's not like trying to beat the crap out of them and make them bleed just because he hates them. He very much so wants to help literally everyone. I know it's like, wow, what a kitty little thing, but I feel like that's something we all should strive for. Especially in a time like this where, like, the threat of war and all that. But everyone wants to be like Bale's Batman or Keaton's Batman or Patterson's Batman, someone who will like strike fear and vengeance and whatnot. But Batman isn't just that. Batman's an inspiration. A good inspiration. He makes people want to do better. He makes us want to be the best that we can be. So, in that sense, especially even in universe, I feel that Adam does suit that extremely, extremely well. Always going around with a smile on his face and just having the time of his life. He's doing it for the greater good. So that's why Adam West is my favorite Batman. He will always be my Batman. A more personal thing that also, you can argue, you're biased. Yeah. So, it doesn't really change the fact that I feel like people need to stop saying things like Adam West isn't Batman, or Adam West is like a satire of Batman, or he doesn't really deserve to be considered part of Batman's like lineage, especially with people say that Adam West's portrayal has no place in the modern day. And I remember watching some debate thing a long time ago between two people arguing over which was the best live action Batman. And this was before the Patterson film came out. And someone was arguing for Adam West. And they argued he's very influential, etc., etc. But apparently him and his opponent were judged by the judges, and the judges said that they don't think either of those Batman, I think it was one of the, not Keaton, but one of the people who took over his role during the time, they were arguing which would be the best Batman, and the judges said they thought neither of them are correct. And that always really hit me the wrong way. Now, I know a lot of people will argue just because he's influential doesn't. I don't know if I've already touched on this point. I'm just sick and rambling. But a lot of people will argue that just because Adam West influenced so much and made Batman popular to like a modern audience, that, that doesn't mean he's the best. But I would still argue that to have that much of an impact, to be able to, be synonymous with the character, I feel like that's worth at least something. And if you just go through the show and watch how he portrays an actual superhero, like he is one of, as I've said, one of the nicest, most pure-hearted characters in, not necessarily in fiction, but in that show. He is one of the nicest guys. Like, he would pay for your, like, sick grandma if you asked. He is just a wonderful, wonderful guy. Which is very reminiscent of the comics of the time. He was a good guy. So, whenever I see these things, and they don't include Adam West, I usually understand, but it's just been thinking about it a lot. Now, yeah, Adam West is my Batman. Thanks for listening to me ramble if you did. I understand if you've left 30 minutes ago, even though it's only 15, or whatever time this ends up being, if I edit it or not. Thank you. And if you don't agree with me, I understand, but thanks for listening. Stay frosty.